super duper waxy in here as we welcome Mr. William Quigley for an AMA. So let's get nifty. Oh, that's funny. It wants me to do this because I'm on my. We're ready. Here we go.
Looking into the future, what do we see? It's lined with digital collectibles, we call them NFTs. Games, trading cards, digital art, and those crypto kitties. Travis and Joel are the hosts, you'll know. Travis and Joel say this won't blow. They're locked and loaded, so ready, set, go! It's the Nifty, really kind of spiffy. The Nifty Show.
Everybody sing along. It's the Nifty Show. I'm Joel Comm.
And I'm Travis Wright. And we got a great guest today, huh, folks?
He's super waxy.
Very waxy.
I am today.
Mr. William E. Quigley. What's the E stand for?
Economics.
That's not true. That is not true. I'm guessing it's, let's see, Ernest?
Close. You're dating yourself with the earnest comment.
Yeah, well.
Think of a king.
Think of a king.
Edward.
King Edward Quigley.
That's really
nice.
why they call wax the king of NFTs. It's because of my middle name.
Yeah. You're just making that up now.
Fun
You're just
fact.
making up stuff. I am in an undisclosed location. I know where I am. You don't know where I am, but I'm going to give you guys a view of where I am.
I think there's a kitchen there. Oh,
yeah, there's definitely a kitchen, but I am deep in the beautiful Colorado Rockies, and yeah. But this is important stuff, so we got to take time out to talk all about waxiness.
Yes. Well, good. I'm glad to be here, guys. Joel, are you in an undisclosed, or Travis, you in an undisclosed location here?
Yeah, I'm somewhere under this bad crypto podcast sign. It's beautiful. It looks kind of like it's kind of a hellscape, actually. If you saw clouds like that, you'd probably be terrified.
Yeah,
it'd be a good day.
There's a Rorschach test there somewhere.
That's true.
Well, we are broadcasting in a lot of different places right now. This stream is hitting not only the Bad Crypto YouTube and Theta and Periscope and Facebook page. We're also hello to our friends at Coin Genius on whether you're on Periscope or YouTube. The questions that we're going to take once we get past the questions that have already been tweeted out for this AMA, we'll only be watching for those on the Bad Crypto YouTube channel. So if you're going to want to leave comments that we'll be able to see and be able to introduce those questions in the conversation, you'll want to watch it nifty.show/YouTube, nifty.show/YouTube. So William, let's kick this thing off. This has been a long time coming for Wax Tokenomics, and maybe you can kind of help set the stage by telling us, where Wax has been, because once upon a time this was an ERC20 token, and
That's
then
right.
it became an EOSIO fork, and there was a swap, and then there was lockups, and kind of give us a little history.
Sure. So briefly, 2017, Wax did its ICO. Everyone got the ERC20, the Ethereum Wax. We always intended to be on a proof of stake chain for many reasons that I'm sure most of our listeners will know, but proof of work chains are good for some things, awful for others. They're not good for NFTs. Proof of stake chains are, because things move fast and you don't have to deal with this bizarre spike in fees and whatnot. So we always knew we were going to do a chain that was specifically optimized for I'd call it digital items, but NFTs probably in the biggest category. We obviously launched Wax on the EOS.io consensus mechanism. So we used the EOS.io code that Dan Larimer at Block One produced. Since we had been doing a lot on Ethereum prior to switching over in, June 2018, we were suffering. Frankly, all the guys who were suffering with DeFi right now and, congestion and all that stuff, that's what we were doing back in 2018. The EOS.io consensus mechanism has been great. works fast. We like it. So I'm glad we made that decision. When we did switch over to the EOS.io chain, people had to turn in their Ethereum version of Wax and get the EOS.io version of Wax, which they have. So one of the things that people have been asking since the day of the launch of the first chain was, how do we token holders, how do we benefit from commercial activity on the Wax blockchain? And I would always say, well, it's going to happen, but how do you benefit from commercial activity on any blockchain? Well, first generation utility tokens, of which Wax was one, there was no way to benefit directly, right? Then we got second generation utility tokens, which were the exchanges that issued tokens, and they kind of indirectly let you participate in value creation. As you know, they burn tokens based on how much profit they make on the exchange. It's nice, but you don't really know how much profit they're making, and they just tell you in an unaudited fashion, we're going to burn some tokens. This year, at the beginning of this year, we had, which for me was a great development, we had third generation utility tokens where economic activity being created on the blockchain is being shared with token holders if you stake. I would say Kyber is an example of that. So third generation tokens, which allow you as a token holder to benefit from economic activity, are wonderful, but to me, they were under optimized for a simple reason. Third generation utility tokens do everything on a single chain. And for the record, the maximalists out there, Bitcoin, Ethereum, fill in the blank coin, it's just a bad argument. There is no one technology that does everything well. So
I like fill in the blank coin though. That's my favorite coin.
You know what? It's probably going to ICO soon. We are now doing, Wax is now doing a fourth generation utility token. And it's just like third generation. You, the token holder, benefit from activity, economic activity on directly on the blockchain, except this is an inter-blockchain solution. What we've said is you should use the blockchain that is best suited for the activity you're doing. In the case of NFTs, I think no one does it better than Wax for a bunch of reasons, some of which we've talked about on your show, but Wax does it great. In the case of the value you generate once you do this activity on our blockchain, where that should go, in our judgment, it should go in a DeFi type system where you can maximize the utility of it. And today there is no better DeFi platform. It's really the only DeFi platform. It's Ethereum. So what we announced yesterday was we're taking the Wax blockchain. We're now going to allow people to benefit from NFT trading activity. And the way you will benefit from that is you will stake tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. And the way you'll do that, you'll exchange your Wax EOS token for a Wax Ethereum token. And you don't have to do that, of course, if you don't want to. But if you do want to get a distribution of the fees being generated on the Wax blockchain, then you need to take your token and you need to convert it over to an Ethereum token, and you'll be able to participate. There's going to be a governance token too as part of that. So while you're staking, you'll get a distribution of a governance token, which will allow you to vote on economic matters related to the Wax blockchain. So that system I've just described to you is very familiar to people who are doing things with DeFi. I will note, maybe we can get into this a little later, DeFi is frigging complicated. It is complicated because it's brand new and it's asking you to do things you haven't done before. And yet there's what, $15 billion currently staked on Ethereum DeFi platforms, and they're staked because there's rewards for doing it. So when you pay people to do something, they'll figure out how to do it. What we tried to do in a Medium post on wax.io that we released yesterday, we tried to explain a couple of things. First, what the Wax tokenomic model involves, and then why we are using Ethereum for one part of the Wax tokenomics. So if you read that, I think you will be, I think you'll be persuaded that what we're doing is a logical thing. And a few people have said to me, well, I understand why you are taking the fees being generated from activity on Wax and injecting it into a DeFi system on Ethereum, because Ethereum is the world's largest DeFi network. So it's a better place to put your income. But is that forever and ever? And I would say nothing's forever and ever. And over time, it may be the case that we can build a thriving DeFi system directly on Wax. But right now, DeFi is Ethereum. So that's the place we wanted to be. We thought it was the best place to put your fee income as Wax holders. It should be, I would liken it this way. If you're making a bunch of money, let's say you've got a mining operation in somewhere in South America, and you're making a lot of money from that, would you want that money to only be used in that country's economic zone? Would you want it only to be usable in that place? You'd probably say, you know, I'd like to bring it over to America or Europe. I'd like that capital to be deployed wherever it does best. And all the tools to do that today reside on Ethereum. So that's why it is there today. And like I said, tomorrow, maybe something else. And if you want, at some point here, we can go through the basics of the Wax tokenomic system. I can walk people through it. You got to know this is, there are multiple steps, and that's just the nature of these blockchains. Having done a lot in DeFi myself, I can tell you, I think we did a very good job of breaking it down into like 8 steps, because most of these DeFi systems don't do that. It's read the smart contract code to figure out what it does. So if you read that Medium post, like I said, it's at the wax.io Medium page. You can see a pretty good article that describes a lot of what I just described and goes into more detail.
You do have an amazing article, amazing infographic on here that just talks about the Wax tokenomic process flow. And I think that would be very helpful for folks to sort of get an understanding, because there's a lot of questions that have come in on the AMA around just how it all works and why.
I'd love to
right here. So if you want to maybe walk, is this the best image you think for to walking people through?
Yes.
I actually own NFTcommerce.com if you want to buy it, William.
Oh, this is a negotiation call too, possibly. So you've got the Wax tokenomic process flow there. It's broken down to 8 steps. Now, obviously, this is a stylized version of it. You could break it down into 50 steps, but this gives you, I think, the conceptual parts of the process. So you start in that little thing, step 1. So on the Wax blockchain, you will have a number of ways that people conduct operations. They sell, they buy, whatever, trade NFTs. We'll have DEXs. We don't yet, but we're going to have DEXs, decentralized exchanges on the Wax blockchain. And there will be other sources of economic activity that we know we're going to be doing. And obviously others will probably do because they see opportunities. So you have a lot of activities being done on Wax where fees are being generated. We call those network fees. And that's a term used by a lot of different blockchains. It's whenever you pay the blockchain something for what it's doing. So that's step 2. Those network fees get collected. And you see in step 3, they then get put into what we call an economic activity pool. But that's just a placeholder. And that placeholder then allocates the fees that have been collected into 2 buckets. One bucket is the distribution pool. Now that's the pool from where you Wax holders will be able to get some of those fees.
Now, hang on a second, William. I'm not sure I understand here. I see an 80-20 here before we get to the distribution.
Yeah. So once in step 2, once these fees are collected and then put into this pool over on Ethereum, there's a process we go through. 80% of the fees that get collected get sent over to this Ethereum economic activity pool. 20% of the fees are burned. And for people who are not familiar, token burning, you take those tokens and you send them essentially to an address that no one can ever recover it from. So that's what we call a deflationary mechanism. So a portion of the fees are getting burned, which means the supply of wax is shrinking. So from 3 to 4, the economic activity pool that's holding these fees is going to put them in 2 buckets. One is a distribution pool, and as the name implies, distribution means they're going to be distributed to people. They're going to be distributed to wax token holders. And then that's 90%. 10% will go into what we refer to as a piggy bank. And I will explain the piggy bank in a second. So if you go down to step 5, if you are now a wax P token holder, so that's the wax token you use to buy NFTs and all that, you can convert or acquire Ethereum-based wax by putting it in a bridge. So we are building a wax P token to wax E as an Ethereum token bridge. That should be out by the end of this month. So you'll be able to take your wax P and convert it, and now it's a Ethereum-based wax token. It's wax E. You'll then take that wax E token, that Ethereum-based wax token, this is step 6, and you will stake it in the economic activity pool. And for people, I think most people probably familiar with the concept of staking. So you'll stake it, you'll lock it up. And then as a result of that staking, 3 things are going to happen. First, a portion of the wax fees that we collected are going into this distribution pool I talked about. And in the distribution pool, you will be eligible periodically to get a distribution of the fees being collected. So you're now participating directly in, let's say, that NFT trading activity. You are now receiving a piece of those fees from that distribution pool. A piece of those fees, as I said, 10% are going to go into the piggy bank. The piggy bank just continues to collect tokens. It does not distribute them out. But because you're a staker, and this is a familiar mechanic to anybody who does DeFi, you're getting a wax governance token. And the wax governance token, which is a brand new Ethereum-based token, entitles you to vote on, frankly, some of the stuff here, the economic matters of the wax blockchain. That's a separately traded wax governance token. But that wax governance token also has a claim to the piggy bank. So at any time, if you would like to go in and take your portion of the wax fees, at any time you can take your wax governance token and send it in to that wax piggy bank contract, and it will burn that token. So it'll be gone from you for you, but you'll get whatever amount of wax governance tokens you submitted. You'll get your appropriate portion of the fees in that piggy bank. Now, what I suspect people will do is they won't go and try to redeem their portion of the fees in that wax piggy bank, because then you lose any ability to collect anything in the future. What you'd be better off doing is trading that wax G token, because it's entitled to whatever is in the piggy bank, and the piggy bank will continue to accumulate for a long, long time. So you probably don't want to burn it, but if you did, you could. So that's kind of a broad overview. If there's anything what I described that
It's a little confusing for sure, and people are going to want to read up more on it by going to the medium.com post and searching for the Wax.io. I just want to say that I actually found an image of what does really happen when those tokens are getting burned. It's I think this is probably an accurate representation.
Yeah,
Of
and that little guy holding his hands up is the guy who wants deflationary economics in his blockchain.
Okay, so the first question I think a lot of people have asked is, we understand that Ethereum is the place for DeFi, but Ethereum is just choking right now on gas fees.
Yep.
And so, how does this work out? I mean, is everything going to resolve once we have Ethereum 2.0, or we just along for the ride and have to pay these gas fees?
So right now, the gas fees you got to pay. I checked today; they're about $2 a transaction, median. Now, by the way, you can time it so you can get it when it's a bit lower, but they're high gas fees. That might explain to your audience why we said when you convert your WaxP over to the Ethereum token, we made a minimum of 1,000 Wax, right? At 5 cents, that would be whatever, $50. We did that because what we wanted was the last thing you want to do is you want to convert over $1 worth of Wax tokens into Ethereum and you pay $2 in fees. So that wouldn't make sense. So you have to save up enough so that it's worth doing the conversion over. Now, in life, there are trade-offs. One of the trade-offs of being able to take your gains from the Wax, the economic value on Wax, and putting it in a DeFi network like Ethereum is you have to pay a fee to do it. I believe that fee, paying that fee is worth it. And for Wax token holders, I want to make a second point that I think a lot aren't understanding. The EOS IO and the EOS community is small relative to Ethereum. So you have whatever it is, $15 billion staked in Ethereum DeFi. You have essentially zero staked in EOS. So if you want to attract somebody who doesn't currently hold Wax, if you want to attract them, would you rather be marketing to the tiny EOS community, or would you want to market to the community that's the second biggest on earth? In fact, if you take all the ERC20 tokens and Ethereum, it rivals the market cap of Bitcoin. So for us, we're like, we need to get people in the Ethereum community to take interest in, because Ethereum people do like NFTs, to take an interest in the Wax project. Ethereum people they have a little bit of that maximalist problem where it's like, it's got to be on Ethereum. And so we're trying to say, okay, you can participate as a Ethereum centric person, but you're benefiting in this token that's on the EOS chain that's actually much better optimized for this NFT activity. I like to think about it as you've got the operational functions of NFTs, creating them, selling them, trading them, all of that stuff you don't want to do on Ethereum because the fees will kill you and it's slow. You want to do that on a blockchain like Wax, which is super convenient. But once you've created some value, where would you like to put that? It's a lot better to put it in, the bank of JP Morgan than it is to put it in your little tiny savings and loan in random place, America. So that's how we looked at it. And we thought that's the only way we can really broadcast the value of Wax and what we're doing from an NFT perspective to this giant community of people who, there's a lot of ERC20 projects on Ethereum that are bigger, have a higher market cap than Wax. And I think a lot of them are real garbage, quite frankly. I don't think they do much. You guys, for instance, you see a lot of those too. And I think you've chosen to use Wax yourselves for NFTs. So, but you know, it's sort of like you've got this amazing, you know, hamburger stand, and you're in whatever, you know, Los Angeles, and it's beautiful. People love it, but you only take Japanese yen. That's all you take. You want to buy my hamburger, you got to buy it. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to do that, right? So if you wound up taking the popular currency, Ethereum, you get a lot more people to use it. So we think that is going to help us. And so once it's live, and the bridge that allows you to convert your Wax tokens into the Ethereum-based token, that will go live this month. Within the next 90 days, the stuff we just walked through in that diagram where fees are being collected, they're being transmitted onto the Ethereum DeFi platform for Wax. You're being able to stake, earn a portion of those fees, get a governance token as well that gives you access to the piggy bank. All of that will be done within the next 90 days. So this is sort of the, hey guys, take a look. And then once it launches, our job and the community's overall is to say, hey, DeFi people, this is a way, way better thing. One thing I think our community may not be as familiar with, frankly, is DeFi. And the term itself is sort of so broad, it's hard to put your finger on it. But I think of DeFi as a place where you can take value you have and do something with it. You can lend it. You can earn a distribution of fees. You can use it as pledged collateral. That's all like in general, what I think of as DeFi. All of the tools to do that, all of the interesting development to do that is on Ethereum, you know? And I know other blockchains are saying they're going to do it, and they should, but right now it's on Ethereum. So we feel like that's where you want to be.
I have a question around that, because I think there's a lot of people who, when you think of DeFi, and you just mentioned DeFi, you can use it as collateral. You can, what a lot of people do is maybe they stake or they put their Ethereum in a vault, and then they get another crypto back that they have to pay back later. Is that a feature within this, or is this the DeFi feature only where you're getting a kickback from that economic activity? Is there going to be a way to say, hey, I don't want to sell my Wax because right now it's a little less than 4 cents. I think it's going to be worth 50 cents down the road. I want to stake it here and I want to borrow something against that. Is that going to be a feature of this?
Totally. And it is trivial to do all of those additional things you just described on Ethereum, because, you know, everything is open source, everything's available. Smart contracts are designed. It's almost a cut paste type of job. Though I want to make one particular point, because DeFi is or can be incredibly complicated, right? And as I said, most of these DeFi projects, their FAQ is read the smart contract logic. It's terrible. It's an exercise in frustration. The reason people do it is because they've been generating a lot of income by putting their tokens in these DeFi contraptions. But something I want to say about DeFi, the vast majority of DeFi is a Rube Goldberg. And hopefully a lot of you guys know what that is, but a Rube Goldberg is a device that has no purpose other than just to kind of entertain you. It's no real purpose. I say that because the vast majority of DeFi projects don't have a thing or an engine that's generating organic economic value. They might have a DEX, a decentralized exchange, but the DEX's activity is for people who are coming in and out of the DeFi project. So it's just a circular thing. That's not hard to do. In fact, for those of you listening who do DeFi buying and selling, you participate in that ecosystem, you know, people launch these projects in 5 days. They just cut and paste what somebody else did. The DeFi projects that I think are going to be sustainable for a long time are ones where the foundation of it is based on a really attractive, sustainable, growing business. And within blockchain, I don't believe there is any activity or any one segment that has more growth potential as a giant consumer business than NFTs.
We're so on board with you on that. You know, I want to mention, I want to say thank you that last Friday, a week ago, Wax announced that Travis and I have been invited to join the Wax Advisory Council.
Oh, yeah.
You know, alongside many other luminaries, and so we hope to bring value to Wax in that way. But I want to ask a question that a lot of Wax users want to know, because there's a master plan here. You've already answered part of it by telling us why Ethereum, because you want to bring attention to Wax from this huge base of Ethereum users. And you know, as fans of using Wax for our NFTs, really I can't imagine going back to Ethereum. We're hoping to attract, you know, new artists and developers to participate in our NFT, our Nifty Box, you know, which is our subscription box. So what you're bringing value, and ideally we'll do some marketing to the Ethereum community in that way. But how do you see the Wax E and the Wax G token then serving the Wax community, for those who have invested, especially those who have been in for years now? What will drive the Wax P price? So maybe really just break it down to the simplest levels. How will this DeFi help to increase the value of the Wax P token?
All right. So here's how I think about it, right? And I don't know what's going to happen, to be clear, right? I don't influence the price of token. I usually don't even talk about the price.
No, but I mean, let's be clear.
But
this is a plan you have developed, and part of that should be to increase. So assuming that you don't have a crystal ball, if the plan works as intended, this is what should happen.
Here's what I'd say to you guys. Like 99% of all other tokens out there, these first generation utility tokens, they had no claim to the revenue generated on the blockchain, to any of the assets on the blockchain, any of the IP. They have no claim, right? None at all. Their price is driven by the supply and demand of what's going on in that blockchain. Now, instead, we've seen different blockchains now starting to say, well, we'll allow you to participate in activity. And those tokens have done very well. The exchange issued tokens like Binance, KuCoin did very well. Then you have guys like KuCoin that have a DEX, and they're like, hey, with our token, you're going to get a piece of the fees if you stake. That's been very attractive. As I said, the difference with us is we're using two chains, Wax, Ethereum, that are optimized. But here's the thing the very basic thing everybody has to be aware of. The current Wax token has no claim to any income, has no claim to any fees. It doesn't own anything. We are now going to have a Wax token that has a direct claim on the economic activity of the Wax blockchain. So I would put it to you this way. If I give you something and it's like, it's a ticket to go into a sports arena, and that costs $10. And, it gives you access to use a sports arena and whatnot. It's like the Wax token on the Wax blockchain. You can buy stuff with it, whatever. And then I say, by the way, I'm giving you a new token. And the new token, you get a piece of all the ticket sales in the auditorium. You would think that somebody would say, if the old one was worth X, the new one is going to be worth X plus. And the only question you would have is, okay, are they renting out that Coliseum very much? What's the growth rate of the Coliseum, right? And I mean, Topps yesterday sold $400,000 worth of NFTs in their Garbage Pail Kids series of NFT trading cards. And they did that with basically no marketing, right? So I'd say to everybody here, the fact that our new token now, all of us are going to get a piece of the economics, which the old one didn't. What's really curious is, if a market were efficient, why would it not say, I should be buying that token now. And why wouldn't its price go up? I don't know the answer to that, but it could just be, well, people are like, well, it's an announcement about what's going to happen. We'll wait until it happens. But I think this is something people have been wanting in Wax for a long, long time. And now there's a way to do it. And had we tried to do this a year ago, frankly, I don't think the DeFi element would have been there, because DeFi was very primitive on Ethereum. It's still primitive, but it works well enough. So $1 earned on Wax is worth a fraction of $1 deployed on Ethereum. And that's because there is a massively bigger group of deep pocketed whales on Ethereum. So would you rather, market to people who don't have a lot, or people who've got cash to spend? So that's how we're thinking about it. The Wax token, being able to give it to, make it easy for people who are kind of Ethereum centric people to say, oh, there's a new DeFi contraption. Because what could happen, guys, is the Ethereum people may never even go over to do NFTs on Wax. I hope they do, but they'll be able to just buy the Wax Ethereum based token on Ethereum, and one of the DEX is there. So they don't, it's taking away friction from people is a huge part of getting them to adopt something, and if you've got your little awful MetaMask wallet and you like, using that, all right, well, you can use your awful MetaMask wallet, but now you got an ability to get the Wax Ethereum token. Here's what I hope happens. They start going, who is this chain that's got all these brands and more and more and more brands, and that's killing it in NFTs? Who are these guys? And then they start asking themselves, why would people do NFTs on Wax? Oh shit, I see why. Because if a pack of Wax NFTs costs $5, but it costs, $2 or $5 or $10 in Ethereum fees, you ain't going to trade that stuff on Ethereum. You're going to do it on Wax.
That's true.
So we will have a bridge after this stuff with the DeFi stuff gets done. We'll have a bridge that'll allow you to take your Ethereum NFTs and put them on Wax. And then what we're going to do is, you're going to be generating fees on Wax because of all the NFT activity. But where do all of the DeFi economic activity, where does it come from today on Ethereum? It's these DEXs that are trading wrapped Bitcoin and wrapped Tether, right? They're tokenizing tokens. All of that stuff's going to be on Wax.
You said something that I think we should put a highlighter on really quick here, because you kind of blew right by it, that you'll be able to take with this bridge Ethereum based NFTs and bring them on the Wax. Travis, this is something we've talked about, because the earliest NFTs we issued in January of this year are on Ethereum, and we would love to be able to bring those over to Wax without having to say, okay, send this ERC 20 token to a smart contract and it burns it and then it reissues. You're going to do that for us.
Or we'd like to be able to take our Wax token, Blockchain Heroes, and send it over to be sold on OpenSea, which it can't today.
Right, exactly. So
that's huge.
Yeah, masking those, wrapping them, whatever you want to say, tokenizing tokens. And allowing them to go back and forth. Now, here's what I would guess. I'm going to guess if you have an NFT on Ethereum, and especially, by the way, for NFTs that are popular, where there's a lot of trading of them, it makes so much more sense. Once it's on Wax, you'll go, oh, the wallet that Wax has is really easy to use. It's really easy to trade. There isn't this waiting for the, when surge pricing kicks in and the fees go up, doing all that. So that's why I say the operational or the commercial functions of NFT buying, selling, trading, all the collecting stuff, that should be done on the blockchain where it's smooth and easy. So what I hope happens is, first, Ethereum people start staking Waxy and benefiting. Then they start saying, where does this income come from? Why am I getting these fees? Then they look at Wax. Then they say, you know what? I'd like to put some of my Ethereum over there. Think about it this way, guys. Can you even trade a sub like $5 or $2 Ethereum NFT on Ethereum? It would make no sense. You're not going to pay $2 or $5 to trade a $2 or a $5 NFT. And to those people who say, but you know, in fact, I'm almost turning around the questions I got, which is, oh, are you guys going to wait to do this until Ethereum goes proof of stake? I don't know what year Ethereum's going to go proof of stake, but it's going to take a while. And in the meantime, Wax is not standing still. So by the time Ethereum gets to proof of stake and and you heard it here first, I think they're going to have to fork. I think the majority of people aren't going to go. They're going to say, we're happy with proof of work. Thank you. So, but by the time that all happens, we're not standing still. We're continuing to innovate with NFTs. And as I said in the article, and I really encourage people to go to the wax.io Medium post where we talk about all this, you know, Ethereum is great. Right now, it's in particular, I call it the monetary system of blockchains. It is the de facto monetary system. What is it now? There is more wrapped Bitcoin every month being put on Ethereum than there is Bitcoin being mined. So you're showing the sales going on there. Those are like an example of some of the NFT sales going on. So I would say here, oh, there's blockchain heroes. Yes. I would say Ethereum is going to be preoccupied for a while with DeFi. And as I said in there, I'm glad you highlighted that comment there. NFTs, you can get tricked into thinking it's about trading cards. It's about video games. It's about virtual image. That's not NFTs, guys. NFTs is an entertainment category. It's right up there with music, video games, movies, and it's bigger. It will be bigger than those. Every single consumer product will be made into an NFT. Your mortgage is going to be an NFT. You guys have made subscriptions into NFTs. Everything's going to go into NFTs. As long as it can't be eaten, anything physical that can't be eaten is probably going to be an NFT. So I think
that's fascinating. Now, William, we got a bunch of questions here that we've not been able to cover yet. That
Please,
the audience
fire them away. Yeah,
has shot them in. So as briefly as we can answer some of these, I think we'll be able to get through them. So for the first one, and there's a couple of people who've asked, Will I Am and then SRN, both on Twitter, have asked about a Wax E to Wax P ratio of 1 to 1,000. Is that going to be a permanently fixed thing? Is that just an initial exchange rate? And then William wanted to know about, it says, so will you distribute any remaining Wax P supply to existing stakers and token holders to ensure the swap to Wax E does not devalue their current holding? Circulating supply is 3.7 billion for Wax P. So 1,000 or 1,000 to 1 swap will be 3.7 million fixed supply of the other ones. That does not add up. Well, how does that all going to work?
Let me explain. Okay.
And then what about Wax G? Like, how does that even get created? What's the
ratio on that? It's already created. But so first, and I know this is a lot, right? Now, to be fair, there's probably about 10,000 people on Earth who do DeFi related stuff. So DeFi gets a lot of attention, and I'm talking about the big whale types. There's a lot of people who dabble in it, but there's probably about 10,000 people who actually understand it. And it is complex. And I think I'm pretty good at breaking things down to be comprehensible. But this is going to take some education. Read the Medium post, and then we've got a lot more releases coming to help explain it. What I wanted to do in this first release was make sure everybody just understand the basic concepts. You do all the Wax operational stuff, NFT stuff on Wax blockchain. You monetize, you financialize those fees in Ethereum. It's best for that. Those are the big concepts. We've got already written basically a how-to guide to do all this stuff, but it's premature to send that out because the system's not up yet. So to Will I Am, nice name there. Will I Am's a question about the supply. We created 3.7 billion equivalent waxes. That's actually 1,000 to 1 exchange ratio. So it's 3.7 million waxes, which maps to the total supply of wax P. Because if everybody took their wax Ps and converted them all to waxes, you would need 3.7 million waxes to do that. Will.i.am, however, called out, but wait a minute, that 3.7 billion supply of wax P does not all exist yet. It will exist in at the end of 2 years because people are staking and they're getting additional tokens. So at the end of 2 years from here, there will be 3.7 billion wax P tokens. We could not have less than that over on the Ethereum side. Otherwise, you couldn't all convert your wax Ps to your wax Es. It's true that you will never have everybody convert all of the wax Ps to wax E, because otherwise, who's going to use the wax on the wax blockchain? But it's kind of like when you do venture capital stuff and you create preferred stock that's convertible into common. The law requires that for every share of preferred stock you give to a venture capitalist, you have to create one common stock that the preferred can be converted into. Otherwise, the guy won't be able to get into common stock. So that's the reason we had to have the same amount of wax P, theoretically possible, 3.7 billion, as the same amount of wax E.
So, William, does that mean that staking ends in 2 years? Like, for now, keep staking. Yeah, you'll still get GBM rewards if you're Genesis, or how's that going to be?
No, staking doesn't end, because you remember with a proof of stake system, for instance, block producers get voted on based on how much people stake. So that will exist. You ask about the people who are currently staking, who are getting wax Genesis block rewards, right? Which are a lot. Those people have a choice. And this is where we talk about trade-offs in life. So in physics, things cannot exist in two places simultaneously. You have a choice. You can continue to stake your Genesis block wax tokens and earn over 3 years, you will earn for every token, you will earn one additional token, right? 2 more years to go there. So you can keep your wax tokens staked, and that's no problem. If you would prefer instead to go and participate in the wax DeFi system, where you can get a piece of the fees, you have to take your wax Genesis block tokens, you got to unstake them, and you got to stake them over on Ethereum. Now, all I can say, because I've had a lot of people ask me, how come? And I say, because with the blockchain, you cannot stake the same token in 2 different smart contracts at the same time. So what we've done is we've given you a choice, which I think choices are always better than non-choices. You can earn a great return just keeping your wax stake today, and you will generate more wax for doing that. Or you can unstake that and you can bring it over to the Ethereum blockchain and you can earn a distribution fee. Which one you do depends on a whole bunch of things. Do you like having your wax staked because you like the idea of just being, getting a certain amount of additional staking rewards every day? Would you prefer to kind of participate in the economic activity on the wax blockchain? Each person's going to have to make their own decision. Now, it may be that you decide, I will do way better staking over here on the Ethereum side. So you would have to unstake those Genesis block tokens. Once you do that, you're not entitled to any future Genesis block tokens. That will be a deflationary event, because no more Genesis block tokens will be rewarded or awarded to you because you've unstaked your tokens. Do you care? Maybe you don't, because you're going to get something better over on the Ethereum side. You're going to get a distribution of the fees from what's being done on the wax blockchain. Plus, you're going to get a distribution of the governance token. And for those people who don't know much about the governance tokens, I just say you got to go read up on it. There's lots of posts. There's lots of YouTube videos. Governance tokens are kind of a concept pioneered by the Ethereum DeFi developers. I like them. They work really well. I wanted all Wax token holders to get another token. So they're going to get this governance token, which allows them to do governance related to the DeFi apparatus. So are
those going to be on the exchanges as well, those governance tokens?
Well,
or do you got to convert those back into like a Wax E or a Wax P?
So if you go, great question. How will you trade them? You know how you're going to trade them? The Ethereum DeFi system. How many DEX?
Like Uniswap or something?
It's infinite, right? Yes. I mean, there's just so many of them out there, right? There's Kyber. There's 1inch, which is an aggregator. That we're already at that stage, by the way. There's so many decentralized exchanges on Ethereum. Somebody smartly said, I'm going to make an exchange of decentralized exchanges. And so when you go trade on that, it's called 1inch, it picks the best place for you among all of the decentralized exchanges for that trading pair you're trading. So this is sort of like often an unsung aspect of blockchain. What's so amazing about blockchain is all these people independently go build on it, right? So you had people, they weren't told to do it. They just built DEXs on Ethereum. Just like they weren't told to do it on Wax, people built marketplaces on Wax. So I wanted the Wax token holders to be able to get the benefit of that massive development.
It seems to me that Wax E is going to drive the price of Wax P, right? If people are investing because of DeFi and they're earning, they're yielding on that, and it takes, the price of that Wax E goes from now, let's say if it were to launch today, $37 because of 1,000 to 1 at 3.7 cents to $100. That means it's going to take, that Wax is going to have to be at 10 cents for 1,000 of those to be equal to Ethereum, right? I don't know that it works the other way around. I don't know that Wax P is going to drive Wax E.
Yeah, and what you're saying is a very good point. This is lots of PhDs in economics study this area. Conversion rates will differ. They'll differ by, hey, you want euros or yen, I have dollars. So I got to pay you in euros or yen. I got to go convert. I pay some fee to do that. And then I get the benefits of having a fungible item in that denominated in that currency. So what exchange rates are, when they're floating, right? They go where they need to go. The RMB, the Chinese RMB to the dollar, that's a weird one. It's pegged at about 6.1 RMB to the dollar, even though the US has printed a massive amount of dollars. So in a way, US is benefiting from that exchange rate right now. How people go do that exchange it's like what Adam Smith calls the invisible hand. We don't know. I suspect whenever there's an arbitrage opportunity, it will get competed away pretty fast. So, things like that don't persist for a long period of time. We may change the exchange rate, over time. Let's say, for instance, it costs 1 penny in gas fees. Well, suddenly, if you have a $1 Wax token price and you're exchanging $1 of Wax into an Ethereum, it's only costing you 1% of what you're doing. You might do it. Today, that's not the case. So we want it so that it's like, yeah, you gotta do at least like 1,000 in order for it to make, like you said, it's $37 worth of that Wax E token. $2 fee for $37 of value, still kind of high, but so I suspect people will be doing it maybe closer to 100, where it's more like 1 or 2% of a fee. But that's for everybody to decide. So
if that's the case, then like, oh, the Wax E is $100 and the Wax P over here is 5.7 cents. Like, whoa, I'm gonna go convert it over here because it's worth $100 over here, there's more of a value there. It seems like there would
Now,
be
but
people who
again,
are trying to
as you
arbitrage
understand-
or playing around
Yeah.
if that gap gets too high.
So this happens with every single thing on earth that's exchangeable. There are, within each day, within each hour of each day, over periods of time, there are dislocations. And you've got the world's global Forex, foreign exchange traders who make their living trying to get a little bit, oh, this is a little overpriced relative to that, and so forth. In general, this happens in crypto too. And in general, it gets competed away so that these things don't persist for long. So I'm assuming that the laws of economics will prevail here, and the same thing will happen. You know, we can talk about other.
Can you go back and let's cover the governance token a little bit again,
Sure.
because you said it's already the tokens are created.
Yeah. The governance token and the Wax E token and the governance token have been created on Ethereum.
But you can't get them yet. Is that correct?
That's true. Yeah, not yet. So by the end of this month, you're going to have an ability to convert your Wax P into the Wax E, right? The Wax equivalent on Ethereum token.
But you'll also be able to just, with Ethereum, go to Uniswap or Kyber and purchase Wax E. Is that correct?
You should be able to do that as well.
Assuming
by the
there's
way,
the liquidity is there.
Yeah. And I suspect there will be. So there's this is, as I keep saying, the advantage of being on Ethereum is there's like 100 times the number of developers and projects and whales and just interested people doing stuff on the Ethereum platform than there are on the EOS platform. So all of that stuff should happen, and it should happen quickly because that community is much bigger. Now let's say, Joel, 6 months went by and nothing, Wax people were not benefiting at all from being on the Ethereum network at all. I'm not dumb. I'd say, shit, I don't know why, but they don't want to do it, right? Well, then, you know, we could, and people have said, well, why don't you just build this on Wax itself? I think I've explained, because there's a lot more people over on Ethereum than there are here interested in DeFi. But if it didn't add any value, we're not dumb. We'd say, shit, I guess they don't want to do it. Fine, we'll just put it on. We'll put it on Wax.
I'm understanding your logic now, right? You're basically saying, look, there's a massive audience here on Ethereum. They understand also that NFTs are being created on Ethereum, but the gas fees are ridiculous. If we get their attention via this DeFi module, they'll see that on Wax, we're cranking out NFTs at the speed of light with no ridiculous gas fees, with advanced technology, and they're going to want to invest in Wax E, and then some of them will also use to creating on the Wax platform. Is that kind of
that's exactly right. It's like you owned it, you own some, a piece of a stock or something in some company, Tesla, and then you're like, wow, this does really well. Let me go over and talk to the Tesla dealer, right? I'm sure it's gone both ways with that. So we're saying, look, we're getting an ability to provide exposure to the Wax NFT platform to all of these Ethereum people. It's like, imagine if the Wax Cloud wallet accepted Ethereum, right? Undoubtedly, during NFT sales, you would have people on Ethereum go, oh, let me try that. Now imagine if they could buy it in Ethereum and they could trade it on Ethereum. Well, they would like that. Now, I would say to them, but that would be retarded because the Ethereum platform is awful for NFTs. So I don't think people are going to do that. But by being able to give visibility to the project and letting even them participate in the economics of that project, it can't but help people see what's going on. And EOS has disappointed. I mean, the EOS community is small. And I think Block One hasn't done nearly enough with its $4 billion to attract a lot more freaking developers. And Wax is the most successful project on EOS, right? And it's like, wouldn't it be great if there were 50 other giant EOS projects? So then there would be EOS DeFi. And I hear people say, I think even Block One said, we're going to do DeFi and EOS. And I'm like, why? No one's there. They're all on Ethereum. So guys, you got to first fix that problem of having some people like in the shopping bazaar to sell the handbags to, before you start rolling out more shopping centers. Have some audience. Ethereum has the audience, and it's crazy too when you think about it. As awful as Ethereum is in doing kind of especially small dollar trades and whatnot, MetaMask, all that crap, but it has a big enough body where people are like, yeah, I get it. It's bad, but what's the alternative? There's not enough people there. It's that networking effect, right? Now, I believe, and I said it in that article, that a blockchain goes where its community wants to go. So even if the Ethereum Foundation says, we're going to redouble our efforts in NFTs. Yeah, but guys, everybody's making bank right now doing DeFi. So NFTs are totally neglected on Ethereum, and they're not being neglected where we are. And it seems to me that that we can get that point across much easier when we make things very easy for the Ethereum people to participate.
That's great. There's another question over here from Twitter from SRN, which I think is interesting because I've had the same question. Is the transmission of Wax P over to Wax E, is that a one-way street where I can take 1,000 of my Wax P, convert it into a Wax E, or can I easily then take my Wax E and convert it back to Wax P to participate on the Wax blockchain to buy NFTs and stuff?
Yeah. So for starts, it's one way. The Wax E or the Wax P, your Wax tokens, now technically they're getting burnt, and then you're getting an equivalent Wax E, right? So that's the way it works. It's one way. It will be bi-directional sometime in Q1.
Okay.
And by the way, part of this is useful for Wax token holders. As people convert their Wax P tokens over to Ethereum, we're shrinking the supply of Wax P tokens because they're getting burnt in order to create your equivalent over on Ethereum. So it's a deflationary and helpful.
Wow. Well, in that case, then is there a mechanism where somebody's going to go, once you have that two-way street where you go, all right, I'm taking 1,000, I'm taking it over here, burned it, bringing it back, buying 1,000 more, burning them, going back and forth, and then massively burning the Wax P or the Wax P supply.
Yes, and of course, people are going to do. It's it's a free country. People are going to do what's best for them. So my thinking, don't have a crystal ball, but my thinking is, Wax people interested in the NFT universe, in trading and building businesses, doing well. You need Wax P to do that, right? So there's an organic and growing group of people who need and use Wax P. If you are not in that NFT kind of world, even though I think it will be many hundreds of billions of dollars, ultimately, NFTs globally. If you don't want to be part of that, just like you don't want to buy an electric car, but you sure would like to participate in all of the value created by people clamoring for electric cars, well, you buy the stock, right? So if you want to just participate in the Wax growth from an economic perspective, you can own Wax E. And what you choose to do, will depend on that.
I see this as a marketer as a really sharp play, because basically you're opening up a shop, and right now Wax and all of the products that we own, they're kind of like off on the country road.
We're in the Culver City Mall, right? And I want to be in Beverly Hills on Rodeo Drive, because that's where the guys are who want to spend. That's exactly,
and that's where I see that you're thinking like a marketer here.
Yes. And this is why I'm glad you say it, Joel, because this is why I had people say, but I love Wax and screw Ethereum. You guys have told me Ethereum's bad and da-da-da-da-da. And I have said that, always with the caveat. Ethereum has some things it does well. In this case, store of value, DeFi ecosystem, it's great. But we, the Wax people today, we can't replicate all of what's going on Ethereum. It doesn't mean that, you know, down the road, we won't build our own mall on Wax. In fact, we're definitely going to do DEXs. And I would love to do all of these advanced DeFi mechanics on Wax, but it would be a disservice to the Wax community if we did not try to freaking wrangle all of those people over in Ethereum. It's like all of us, I think, are enlightened people when it comes to NFTs. You go, why would you ever do NFTs on Ethereum? And it's like, how do we knock that into them? That, guys, it's a terrible idea. So this is what we think is the best way to do that. You first entice them by saying, look at the value being created. Take a look. And we'll see. So once it's live and the Ethereum people can actually touch it, use it, you know, start to do stuff with it, there will be an organic demand for Wax E. So that organic demand now of Wax E can be separated from the commercial people, us, who are launching, creating, innovating cool NFTs for millions of consumers. They don't have to participate in that if they don't want to, but we've created a separate demand angle, a separate demand vector for the token that didn't exist before.
That's fascinating. So I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but there's been a meme going around on Twitter this past week around NFTs. There's been a lot of talk about NFTs. And I think Peter McCormick, who runs the podcast, What Bitcoin Did, he said, oh, I just took a screenshot of your NFT. I own your NFT now. And then I came back and I said, well, I don't really think you understand NFTs. NFTs are digitally scarce pieces of advanced programmable media. Right now, it's like an image in an envelope, but soon, unlocked by geo-proximity, time released, it can evolve over time, multimedia, available in VR and AR with provenance and ownership deeds on chain. What else would you add to that? Or how would you describe an NFT to somebody who has no clue about what's going on?
Here's what I would say in different words. Hey,
Jane, you ignorant slut. No, sorry.
Well, I'd say, hey, buddy, I think what happened was you were at the Louvre in Paris and you saw the Mona Lisa. And as you were leaving, you grabbed the little lithograph for $5 in the gift shop. And you kind of think you bought the Mona Lisa. You didn't buy the Mona Lisa. You bought a lithograph of the Mona Lisa. And experts can tell the difference. And what's so damn wonderful about an NFT is because it's blockchain based, it is the only consumer product on earth that self-identifies as genuine. Because if it's on that, let's say, Wax platform issued by that top smart contract or blockchain hero smart contract, by definition, it's authentic. And you were able to verify its authenticity instantly at no cost because the wallet recognizes it from that contract. It must be genuine. I have made this very same point. In fact, as late as yesterday, to a bunch of people in the entertainment industry. And this was profound to them when they finally figured it out, because they all say, but can I just take a picture of your little emoji and now I have it? And I say, now you have the lithograph, you know, you get it? It's
try and sell that for, you know, $1 billion to somebody like the Mona Lisa, you know, right. I mean, it's not,
and it's one happen. Thing, if you're in the sports memorabilia business, one of these guys was, that guy got it instantly. I'm like, how much counterfeit junk is on eBay? And he said, you should assume it's all
fakes,
counterfeit.
So many fake, even reprints that don't even tell you that it's a reprint. Like I have this Mickey Mantle 52 Topps baseball card that I know is a reprint because I bought it super cheap, but it doesn't say reprint on there at all anywhere. Like if you didn't know, like somebody who was unscrupulous could try to sell to somebody as legit, and it's completely not legit.
Yeah, the self-identifying for free, whenever somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, gold, I can use gold. It's better than Bitcoin because it's real," and da da da. I always say, "How do you even know that it's gold?" And to which they'll always say, "Well, I can get it assayed." Great, you got a bunch of assay buddies, really? And how do you know the assay firm, wherever that is, even is legit itself. And by the way, once you get it done, is the guy still hanging around to buy the NFT or whatever who took 7 days to assay the gold? So in the same way, Bitcoin, it's a remarkable thing, right? Virtually anybody who understands crypto will gladly give you $10,500 or whatever the price of Bitcoin is instantly once you send them that Bitcoin, because they know by definition it's authentic. And the ability to not have to pay somebody to ascertain the authenticity from an economic perspective is enormous, especially with consumer collectibles, where they're not Mona Lisas. Usually they're smaller dollar amounts. You can't pay appraisers to appraise a $100 item, and you don't need to with a blockchain, which is why I love NFTs. I wanted to say one other thing, because a few people have asked about this. They said, hey, you know, there's this fee that gets paid, this author fee today, right? There'll be many other types of fees like DEX fees and all that, very similar to what other blockchains do. But some people have said, well, isn't it bad to have a fee for trading an NFT? And all I have to say is, well, bad for who, right? But we, Wax, are able to attract great brands to the Wax blockchain. And one of the reasons we are able to attract great brands is because they absolutely love the idea that they do get a little piece of every secondary market transaction that ever happens. That's super compelling to them. So people need to be rewarded for doing something. Valuable IP does not go to random Joe blockchain where they're like, well, what am I getting rewarded for down the road for what I'm doing? So in order to make the Wax blockchain an attractive place for attractive brands, you need to pay. And I'm sorry, but that's how economics works in this world. If you don't, you won't attract those caliber of.
Well, that's one of the most exciting things when we were talking to Topps, because Topps has a digital app. They have several digital apps on the iOS store and Android, but those apps don't there's no recurring revenue once somebody buys it, or if they try to sell it amongst each other. They were seeing, you know, some of those rare cards selling on eBay for several $100s, and Topps didn't make any of that money. And so that's why that secondary market. But that does open up another question, is around that secondary market. Now, so the economic distribution happening on Wax E with this, because of all the economics happening on this. What happens if developers go through and they say, all right, we're programming into the smart contract no secondary market fees, and so there's no fees built into that? Then there would be nothing that Topps or that Wax would take.
And that will not be possible.
That, correct?
Yeah, it would be. But of course, the Wax blockchain is about building the greatest place on earth for NFTs, to make them friendly for NFTs. In fact, for any ecosystem to thrive, people in it, from holder of a claim on what's ever generated, the guy who rents out the the cart for you in the mall, everybody has to gain something. And if you don't have an ability for people to make money for doing real work, then what you get is junk. So here's what I'd say to your specific question. Well, what happens if people don't pay it? Well, that's not going to be possible on the Wax blockchain, because what we're building is a clearinghouse, and that clearinghouse will be regulated by the block producers. NFTs conform to a standard, and if a marketplace wants to have a transaction be processed, then that fee has to be paid. The equivalent of gas on Ethereum. You can't just transfer a token on Ethereum and say, but I don't want to pay gas, because it's like, okay, well, people don't work for free. So it's going to be the same way. The NFT standard will allow for a fee to be collected, and then that fee gets paid out a certain amount to the author, the brand, or whoever owns the IP, you guys with Blockchain Heroes. A certain amount will be burnt, and a certain amount will be distributed to the Wax token holders using this DeFi system we've been talking about. And I think, well, Ethereum is a perfect example. If anybody says, but, will people want to pay fees? They pay ridiculous fees over in Ethereum, and they wait a long time. And over time, these fees can go down, of course, as the blockchain blossoms. But let's face it, the building block of the biggest, most famous blockchain of all, Bitcoin, was based on individuals following their own self-interest, being rewarded initially in tokens no one knew had any value or not, to go do something, mine Bitcoin. Ethereum is also a proof of work chain. In this case, we've got lots of people who we're trying to release valuable IP on the Wax blockchain. And by attracting that valuable IP, who are they bringing with them? No coiners. They're bringing people who are fans of that brand, but maybe don't do anything in crypto today. Wouldn't that be good for Wax to be able to bring big brands, get them to promote what they're doing, and have a bunch of people come in and say, oh, this isn't too hard. Try doing that on Ethereum with MetaMask and figuring out how much gas to pay. So they're going to go, wow, this is actually pretty easy. And again, I hope that creates a lot of demand for Wax. It's about bringing IP people care about. You guys created IP from scratch that people care about, but I think that's hard. There you go. Thank you. The blockchain hero card, Mr. Wick. And it is a little bit of a resemblance. I come from Disney, as you know, and do you think Disney would ever go and sell its Mickey Mouse waffle irons in Japan if it wasn't getting a royalty?
No, of course not. It makes perfect sense. And, the way you're building the Wax Advisory Council, you've got representatives on there from Google, Microsoft, Atari, Mattel, Unity, Gummy, Exploding Kittens, the list goes on. And I'm assuming that part of the goal here is to help onboard these brands. So I know we need to wrap up here in a minute. So I have one question around that. The first thing I want to ask is, when this happens at the end of the month, will you come back when this goes live?
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And to be fair, it's the bridge. So people will be able to now convert their Wax tokens into Ethereum Wax tokens, we call Wax.
But they'll also be able to buy Wax E with Ethereum, correct? Is there a date, or right now it's just towards the end of the month?
Yeah, it's towards the end of the month. I would like to be able to give a specific date, but every time I do that, we miss it, and then I get annoyed. So
the question really is, based on people, the announcement comes out, and people are like, "Why aren't we going to the moon?" Well, people in Ethereum can't actually do anything yet, right? There's no driving. That's exactly
right. So, by the way, briefly, I thought about going, wow, why don't we do the announcement the day it all goes out, right? And I've been in blockchain for a long, long time. I do a lot in DeFi, right? I was the second biggest buyer of the Ethereum crowd sale. I get what's going on in Ethereum. I mention all that because this shit can be overwhelming if you try to understand it all at once. So what I wanted to do is just say, look, this isn't about hyping anything, right? This is just read this stuff, try to understand it. I am going to do a bunch of what we're doing here for the next couple of months. I am going to take questions and I'm going to go and I'm going to answer them on, I'm not sure what format's best, if it's YouTube or Twitch, but I want to educate people because this stuff is hard. I actually do educate people about crypto in general. Weekly on a different channel. And I know how hard it is to get all this. So we're going to try to provide enough written information that people can follow it. But then I'll try to answer questions. And there were a lot of good questions people had. I'm even thinking of writing up some of these questions and then just giving answers to them so people can go
sort of Reddit style. That might be nice. A lot of people have a lot of different questions. That would be like the AMA of that, because there was a bunch of questions on that Twitter stream that we were not able to get to. But yeah,
I mean, people, a popular one was, which they're like, why not do this on EOS? Why is Ethereum so great? As I said at the beginning, go read what we wrote. You guys can make your own judgment, but I think we're better off being on Rodeo Drive than, in Bakersfield, and EOS is Bakersfield. So, we want Wax to be exposed to people on Rodeo Drive.
As it should be. Well,
hey, I'm
William,
so offended that you made fun of Bakersfield. There's people in Bakersfield listening going, "Ree!"
Bakersfield's good for certain things too. You want to buy a horse? Hey.
Bakersfield is the thing, like
man.
when you finally get out, I made that road trip before, you finally get into California, you're like, oh, Bakersfield. I'm back into some a little bit of civilization.
There's a lot of great projects.
Yeah, you could peel this back so many layers. And Joel, I would love to come back and say, okay, now there's this. As soon as we have this next piece of tech out, every time I pitch a big brand about NFTs, and guys, they don't know what a blockchain is. They don't really know what a Bitcoin is. So you want to talk about painful. Having said that, they won't let me leave the room. These are guys, we only have 25 minutes and it's 2 hours in. Can you stay longer? I'm like, guys, you got to do some of your own work. But their heads are exploding because they think, one of the first things they usually say to me, we don't like crypto. We only like blockchain. And I'm like, okay. And then I go show them a blockchain heroes or a little William Shatner card. And I'm like, by the way, what about that? That's a crypto. It's a one-of-a-kind crypto. It's a crypto. And within an hour, they're like, how do we get in on this? So
little William Shatner. You probably shouldn't call him that. We're speaking with brands ourselves and those we're aligned with. We anticipate helping to onboard some big brands into the space, and we're always trying to innovate. I think you saw what we just launched with the Nifty Box just this week.
Very clever.
It's a subscription
I've done a lot of
box.
thinking about what you guys are up to. It's very clever. Yeah.
Yep. This is it right here. And I think we onboarded 200 and some odd members, and it's not too late for people to get in. If you go to the niftybox.com, you can get an annual membership in either the King or the Star level. And because of the things that happened at like KuCoin, where people got locked out, they couldn't get their wax out, and maybe being a little too difficult to get wax, we are accepting dirty fiat. And so, people are buying memberships in PayPal, and we have done our first drop. We're dropping anywhere from 6 to 10 NFTs per month, original, exclusive, some blockchain heroes, some other brands to wallets. And if you guys don't have this, once they're sold out, they're sold out. And
let me give you guys a plug. So imagine you have a Spotify subscription and you paid $144 for the year. And Spotify let you, after 2 months, you're a little light on dough. You need to buy something for your girlfriend or whatever. You'd love to be able to get a refund. You can't get that. Or you could go trade that subscription as an NFT. You use 2 months. What's the price now? 2 months less of whatever you first bought it for. Turning subscriptions into NFTs is going to frickin' blow people's minds away in the consumer products and consumer services area. And there will be resistance too, because they're going to be like, well, what if the price of the subscription on the open market is cheaper than what we're paying for? Well, then that's an indication you are overcharging, buddy. And so this is why I say NFTs expand your mind. And also I'll leave it with this. As a venture capitalist over decades, I have seen almost every modern technology-based industry be designed almost from the time of inception to be a winner-take-all model. It's just the way it is. And it's what's creating all this tension with the 1%ers and, we need to reinvent capitalism and all that. The last time I saw it not happen like that was e-commerce. Now you could say 25 years ago, you could say, well, Amazon is big, but Amazon is a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of global e-commerce, right? You got Alibaba, you got Tencent, you got Line, you got all these other companies out there. They're big, but they by no means have substantial market share of global e-commerce. I have not seen an industry like that where there's going to be thousands of ways to for businesses to thrive since those days, as I see now with NFTs. NFTs are so big. People say to me, well, what about this blockchain marketplace Nifty? Are they competing with you at Wax? I said, Nifty is doing cool original art, right?
You're talking about niftygateway.com.
Nifty, yeah. It's a great group. They're, Ethereum based, don't know why, but whatever. It's nice. But that is literally one market. The digital collectible high-end art market is like, could be 50 billion in its own right in years to come. And it is itself a subset of the overall NFT space. We're in like the Pacific Ocean. So no one chain will dominate all NFTs. Like, we're probably not going to get into tokenizing your mortgage, right? But you'll have categories. There's a bunch of categories I think we will do very well in and dominate. One of them is trading cards, and there's many others. So that is something I hope to be able to communicate to the Ethereum crowd. I had early on people in Ethereum say, well, what are you doing? And what do you call that? I said, we call it NFT. Oh, no, NFTs are only things on Ethereum. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it works that way. So we got some education to do, but when you are naturally a better option, you will always wind up ultimately gaining market share. And I think Wax, and particularly how we're designing it right now, is a better option. Keep the brands coming.
Awesome. Mr. Travis Wright, any last words to Mr. Quigley?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing this all implemented. I know that if you go to medium.com/wax-io, you can go and easily find that blog post. Go read through that. I would suggest. It seems very interesting to watch how this is all going to play out. And as always, for one, thank you so much for getting us on the advisory council. We really appreciate that. And thank you for your time being with us today. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Awesome.
Yeah, this thing went long. Sorry about that. There's a lot to digest, but hopefully it's helpful for the community.
Thanks, William. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And for those of you watching today, the Nifty Show takes place every week at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Pacific. Next week, we're going to introduce you to Michael Yates, who is a co-founder of Alien Worlds, a new digital collectible trading card game on the Wax blockchain. And they're also, I think that they're doing some really interesting stuff to go cross-chain, which is, all part of the master plan as well.
Cross-chain, baby.
So,
it's the future.
Yeah. We'll catch you guys then. Until then, be nifty and all that good stuff. And Travis, you are in control of the stream, so you have to actually end it.
Nice.
click the thing where it says live and say live no more. And William, hang on just a second.
Something that says live and say no more. Stop the